We are at video number 0032, Self Surrender and Divine Grace. Self Surrender and Divine Grace. A camel chews on thorny bushes, even though the thorns wound its mouth and make it bleed. Still, it continues to eat them, unable to change its habit. In the same way, human beings, driven by their own nature and desires, repeatedly engage in actions that bring them pain and sorrow. No matter how hard they try, they cannot easily escape this cycle of suffering through their own effort alone. True freedom and peace come only when one surrenders to the divine will. True freedom and peace come only when one surrenders to the divine will and seeks grace from the Supreme. A student is asking a question. I heard that just as a camel eats thorns, despite the pain, human beings too live in sorrow because of their nature. What does this mean? Why do we keep doing things that hurt us? The Guru replies, the example of the camel is a mirror of human life. The camel eats thorny plants, though its mouth bleeds because it has developed a taste for them. Likewise, man takes pleasure in worldly things, wealth, fame, power, sensual pleasures. Though they bring pain, restlessness, and disappointment, he knows they cause suffering. Yet he continues bound by habit and desire. The Bhagavad Gītā, chapter number 3, verse number 33 says, even a wise person acts according to his own nature. Beings follow their nature. What will restraint accomplish? This means that our inner nature, formed by countless impressions and desires, which we call samskars, from past actions, pulls us into certain patterns of behavior. Just as fire cannot become cold or water cannot burn, our nature compels us to act in certain ways. A student is asking a question. But if our nature binds us, how can we ever escape it? Are we doomed to suffer forever? The Guru replies, no. The chains of nature are strong, but not eternal. They can be broken not by our ego's strength, but by divine grace. When you realize your helplessness before your own mind, when you sincerely say, oh Lord, I cannot do this alone, you open the door for divine help. This is the essence of Sharanagati or self surrender, which Lord Krishna teaches throughout the Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse number 66, the Lord gives the highest teaching. Abandon all forms of duty and surrender unto me alone. I shall free you from all sins. Do not grieve. Here, Krishna declares that liberation does not come by mere effort or austerity, but by whole hearted surrender to the divine will. When we surrender, we no longer fight the world with our small ego. We let the infinite act through us. A student is asking another question. But what does it mean to surrender to God? Should I give up all work and just sit in prayer? The Guru replies, no. True surrender does not mean running away from life. It means living with awareness that everything belongs to God and everything happens by His will. When a river flows into the ocean, it loses its separate identity but becomes vast and deep. Similarly, when the human will merges into the divine will, all limitations vanish. You still act, but your actions are no longer selfish. They are offerings. Your mind is free from anxiety about results. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gītā, chapter number 3, verse number 19, perform your duty without attachment, and you will reach the Supreme. Thus, surrender means to live, work, and love, but without ego, without the sense of I am the doer. You become an instrument like a flute through which the Lord's melody flows. The student is asking another question. Still, my mind constantly pulls me toward desires and fears. Even when I want to surrender, I fail. Why is it so hard? The Guru replies, that is the struggle of every soul. The mind is restless like a monkey jumping from one thought to another, never still. Krishna himself says in the Gita, chapter 6, verse number 34, the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and strong. To subdue it is more difficult than controlling the wind. But he also gives hope in the next verse. Yet, by practice and detachment, O son of Kunti, it can be controlled. This means that surrender is not a single act, but a constant practice of remembering God, of offering your actions to Him, of trusting Him in joy and sorrow alike. Each time you fall, rise again. Grace never abandons one who strives sincerely. The student is asking another question. If divine grace is the only way, what is my role then? Should I just wait for grace to descend? The Guru replies, you must prepare yourself to receive grace. Just as a farmer prepares the field before rain, grace is always present. It flows like sunlight. But unless the windows of the heart is open, the light cannot enter. You open that window by number one, faith, believing that there is a higher power guiding you. Number two, humility, knowing that your strength is limited. Number three, surrender, letting go of control and trusting the divine plan. Number four, devotion, offering your thoughts, words, and deeds to God with love. When your heart is pure and open, grace descends naturally. It transforms your nature from within. slowly, silently, but surely. A student is asking another question. What happens when a person truly surrenders? The Guru replies, when surrender is complete, suffering ceases. The person becomes free even while living in the world. To such a one, pain and pleasure are the same. Success, success and failure do not disturb them. They see the divine presence in every being, every event, and every moment. The Bhagavad Gītā, verse number 13 and 14 of chapter 12 describes such a devotee. He who has no hatred toward any being, who is friendly and compassionate, free from ego and attachment, patient and forgiving. Such a devotee is dear to me. Through surrender, the camel stops chewing thorns. The human heart finds nectar instead of pain. The bleeding stops and joy begins. So, a student is asking another question. So, the message is that I must accept my helplessness, surrender to the divine, and allow grace to transform me. The Guru replies, yes, that is the great secret of all spiritual paths. Man's effort is the call, God's grace is the response. Both are needed. Your part is sincerity, humility, and devotion. God's part is everything else. When the drop surrenders to the ocean, it does not vanish, it becomes the ocean itself. Likewise, when you surrender to God, you don't lose yourself, you discover your true self, vast, peaceful, eternal. I understand now. A student is saying, I understand now the camel suffering is the suffering of all humanity. But the cure is not in running from the thorns, it is in changing our taste, in seeking divine nectar instead. I pray for that grace. The Guru replies, yes. Seek the Lord with love, not fear. When you surrender, you do not fall. You rise into His embrace. Remember, let go, and the infinite holds you. That is the self surrender and divine grace. Now we come to the summary of the teaching for you. The camel and the thorns represent the human tendency to repeat painful habits. Our nature, Prakriti, binds us to cycles of pleasure and pain. Human effort alone cannot free us completely. Surrender to God with faith, humility, and devotion invites divine grace, which alone can transform our nature. Grace does not destroy us, it fulfills us, making us instruments of divine love and peace. This is the highest teaching of the Bhagavad Gītā, chapter 18, verse number 66. Surrender and be free. Hari Om.